So what did you guys think about the third law? This is what is interesting to me. The way the book is written, it's almost like habit stacking. It's like law stacking. The way they roll it out, the way he rolls it out is so interesting to me because you think you've got it. Oh, okay. In law 2, okay, I get it. Now I've got it. But in law 3, he stacks more on us. And I was like, oh, it all goes with that habit stacking, right? It's all the habit stacking. And I thought that was so interesting. Was there a part of this third law that stood out to you guys? Chris, did you read it?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, oh, Chris read it. Okay, here we go. What do you think?
Well, this one for me was the first one that was extremely easy to daydream about and see how I can actually perform these and apply these to my life very simply and easy. So through the whole thing, the number one excitement part for me was understanding that habits was taking like a difficult habit that you want and understanding that that's not actually the habit that you create. It's the 2 minutes or it's the little habit that leads to doing that habit.
It's the precursor.
It's the gateway, it's the entry drug. Yeah, it's the entry drug into the main habit that you're going to do. You're setting it up to make the main habit easy.
Right.
So, for example, like they used in here, like if you want to create a habit of going for a jog every single morning, well, the habit that you want to create is not going for a jog right off the bat. That's the end goal. The starting point is create a habit of putting your running shoes on and tying them. That's it.
Right. So it's the putting of the shoes on. It's like when I go to the gym, as soon as I put my gym clothes on, I'm committed. I'm going.
Right.
I'm not going to put gym clothes on and not go to the gym.
Right.
Right.
So for me, I looked at it and I was applying it to myself in my mind, and I was thinking, okay, I want to work out. I think about going to the gym and it's kind of overwhelming in my mind and it's easy to procrastinate, push it off and be like, no. But then I thought what they're saying, I'm like, but if the night before, if I created a habit of putting my gym clothes out, and then as soon as I drop my kids off at school, I come home already, that's already part of it, of my daily routine. I just put my gym clothes on that are laid out on my bed. That's totally freaking doable.
Yeah.
That, just focusing on that is easy. That's a habit that I can create very easily. And I already know that once I do that, it's going to make it 10 times easier to go to the gym. And so I don't know, like I was looking at that and my mind was just swirling about all the different like good habits. And I was trying to convert the actual habit into the entryway, the gateway habit that I need to actually do. And it all like was very exciting to me.
And how do you think that works with real estate? Like that works going to the gym. That's easy, right? Put your shoes on, getting your gym clothes on. What can we do in real estate to set us up for that gateway to be doing what habits we should be doing in real estate? Let's say like making calls to our clients. What habits can we do before that to ensure that we're going to go into that?
Time blocking. Time blocking. I mean, I know what I'm going to do every day. I know what I'm going to do and what time, and it's color coordinated in my calendar. Just makes it easier to stay focused.
Okay, so this one, I thought about that too. Time blocking. I already have all my stuff on my calendar, but I don't follow any of it. So this is what I connected in my brain after reading this stuff. So this is going to be my little habit that I'm going to create. This is what I created. Is I'm going to sit down, pull my phone out, open the app for my calendar, and I'm going to change one thing in my calendar that I don't use, and I'm going to put in something that I do use, and that's it.
Oh, that's your your small change.
That's all I'm going to do. I'm not going to go in there and conquer the world. I'm not going to go and refigure everything. I'm going to open it up, and I'm going to pick one thing that I know I can do that I'm going to hold myself to follow, and I'm going to do that. That's it.
Don't you think that it's like Connie and I, we both calendar. We try and put our appointments together, which getting us to do an appointment together, a meeting is it takes an act of Congress, it's tough, but we both live and breathe by the calendar. So for us, that's easy, and I think what you're hitting on though, Chris, is like the things that are difficult, right? You have your calendar, but you don't use it. That's something you don't.
I don't use any of the stuff I have my whole day all set in there, but I don't use any of that. The only time I ever use it is like actual appointments. I'll plug those in and I do look at my calendar every day for those, but I ignore
Everything else.
everything else.
So do we
that's not there.
need to make something that is hard for us to do attractive? Is that what we need to do?
Yeah,
Make it attractive, right? Like what can we do to ensure that you're gonna do that every day? It's like setting out your shoes or getting your stuff ready the night before so that you know what you're doing. I think that's a good goal for all of us to have. So I guess we need to identify what we have problems following through with, right? Whatever it is, what problems we are having.
The other thing
I've been looking at my database every morning and picking like 3 people to call. And then once you get all those calls done, you know, you're not like missing anybody, and then anything else is just extra at that point.
Right.
So the habit that you can do for that is,
Come over
or
here.
for somebody else that you have it in your mind, oh, I want to make 3 calls today. A habit could be just develop the habit of opening up Sync and taking a piece of paper
Yes.
and writing 3 names and phone numbers down. That's it. If you create that habit, it's an entryway, it's a gateway to, okay, you've already opened your computer, you've already done that. It's very simple. That's a very easy attainable thing to do. Now you have the numbers here. What are you gonna do? Stare at them all day? It's easier to make those calls if you set the habit of just writing the names and numbers down.
So when we talked about Sync, I do that, but I program my agent care calls in my phone through Sync. So I get an email and a text. I only do 1 a day for the agents, it's 1 a day, but if you had everybody set up on a contact plan in Sync, it would automatically tell you on your phone, call this person, and this person. And then what I do to finalize, because the call is great and I love the call, but where it really feels good to me is removing that. I delete the email, I delete the text because I did it. And it feels complete to me. That's the reward, but I'm a weirdo about that. Like I like to go through and, oh, I did that, and that, check those off, it's done. So I think what you're saying now is right. Whatever your habit is, I like to do it through Sync because then it's automatic. I've already set it up for the year. The contact calls for my agents, it's done for the year. Jackie imported it all for me and then I just went through and did 1 a day, 1 a day, 1 a day. And it's done. So the work up front was the painful part. The calling of it is not. It's easy, it's fun. I get to see, oh, I get to talk to so-and-so and I give them a call. Then I get to click it off my list.
Yeah. I think it's what's exciting is taking really good habits and just working backwards, like it's a flip. Where like it's your goals for the year. You want these numbers, you work your way backwards. Like take a habit, a good habit you want to establish, work your way backwards from that, from its most difficult form, which is its pure habit, like the end goal that you want, and bring it back to its simplest form backwards.
Yeah.
What it takes to do that, whether it be literally the night before you go to bed, you put your laptop on your kitchen table. Okay.
Exactly.
Or like just doing some little entry gateway habit that is going to lead to you down that road of doing something. So that's for me, because I've had a really bad problem with having goals and wanting to do these things and I just don't ever do them. But then I'm looking at these little things and I'm like, wow.
So Gunnar, what do you do to get you to do those 3 calls in the morning? Like what is leading up? What makes that attractive for you? What's getting you in the habit of doing that?
Well, once you know you got it all done, you let people accomplish something for the day.
So it's the reward,
Yeah,
the reward.
You did it again.
I know.
yeah, you don't even.
And then- You know what was really interesting to me, and I never even thought about this, was motion makes you feel like you're getting things done, but really you're just preparing to get things done. Because don't we all do a lot of busy work, right? We do a lot of busy work. We're busy, oh, we get this thing all done and we get it all put in there and then we never do anything with it. So it's the difference between motion and actually doing something. To me, I was like, wow, that is huge. To me, that was big. And then this other part where he says motion allows us to feel like we're making progress without running the risk of failure. Because if we commit and we don't do it, we failed. If we just do the busy work, right? And you can get caught up in all that busy work and trying to make it perfect. And it's never gonna be perfect. You just gotta do it. What else did you guys get out of that chapter? Anything that stood out to you? Connie, what do you think?
Well, I still, I'm such a time blocker and I have to make myself step away if I haven't gotten something done, because then I'll get behind the rest of the day. But what I'm gonna do today, and I wanted to do before the meeting, was download the cheat sheet. Because because sometimes I feel like I'm getting a lot done, but then I didn't. So I have some stuff that I need to work on, because there are things that I don't really want to do that I have to make myself do. So yeah, my computer's down, they're gonna come up there, or my internet's down, they're gonna come and fix it. But I'm gonna do that cheat sheet, because I want to really do a strong what my day looked like. Because I think it looks really good until I forgot that I didn't do something, if that
Right.
makes, yeah,
Right.
because I'll get, like, I'm working, my website is ready, and I got really involved in that yesterday, which took me out of sync for other things.
Right. And what about this? The amount of time you have been performing a habit is not as important as the number of times you've performed it. So remember when what example did he give that was like, oh, if somebody never goes to the gym and commit to going to the gym for 5 minutes, but every day, and eventually it's going to grow. But the most important part is not that you're staying at the gym for an hour, it's that you're going new days in a row, consecutive days in a row. So again, it's like doing the habit. It's the habit of doing it, not the length of time. Eventually it'll grow into what that is. And I think that's hard because we want to jump in, right? Oh, I'm going to go to the gym for an hour. I'm going to go 2 hours. I'm cutting my calories down to this, instead of just little tiny changes, which is more attainable and easier.
It's the follow through and the consistency that always make us fall off, but if you can just commit to doing what you say you're doing, and being the reliable and being the follow up and being the consistent, then I think it's like you build that habit off of that.
Yeah. Yeah. What did you take out of it, Lacey? Anything that was?
I mean, what Chris said, everything with what Chris said, just, like, what makes it easier for me is like doing something that I know I can do, and whatever my day feels so chaotic, right? It's moving, I have a lot of motion, got a lot of motion here, got a lot of motion there. Oh no, monkey wrench, here's another motion I wasn't asking for,
Right, right.
But if I can commit to myself and saying and following through, and if there's something as little as when I see something and I'm like, oh, that reminds me, when I do that, it's gonna lead to this. And then it's just that extra 1% a day that's gonna get me to where I wanna be.
Yeah. I agree.
And that's touching on the creating the environment.
Yeah.
So. If you were to pick one thing, or any of us were to pick one thing that we wanted to start off with, and you work your way backwards and you ask yourself, what's going to stop me from that one thing that you just said? Or what's gonna make it easier to do that, like putting something in a specific spot intentionally the night before. And it's gonna, where we know tomorrow, you already have habits. So think of the habits that you already have. Where do you go? What is your morning routine? What is the routine currently? And along that path of that routine that you already are doing, what can you put in that path to be very convenient and easy?
Yeah.
To be a gateway to what you want to establish as a new habit.
Do you think it's because we're lazy? It
Yeah.
says our real motivation is to be lazy and to do what is convenient. Is that true?
Yeah.
You guys agree with that?
People struggle with wanting because they're exhausted. It's exhausting being a human and a responsible adult,
Don't
Like,
you
it's
think?
hard.
Don't you think at the end of the day though, once you start like getting into habits where you don't have to think about it and you become second nature. It makes things less stressful. If you calendar, I know, I mean, you know, people always like calendar, I'm not gonna have a calendar control my life. Oh, but it is controlling your life because you're running around like a maniac, not knowing what you're doing. My life is very controlled. I know exactly what I'm doing the next day. I know when I can fit in phone calls. I know when I can fit in the gym. I know exactly what I can do. Exactly. It makes it so much better.
Well, it's just less.
I like the idea of rewarding a good habit and punishing a bad habit.
Right, right.
Mhm.
No, that kind of helps me, I guess.
How do you punish bad habits then? Like, what would be an example of that?
It was saying like. Creating friction for doing that. So kind of like what Jackie had said a couple weeks ago, like if one of the things that you're really focused on doing is stopping being on this app. Disconnect, like. Delete the app. So when you're gonna go on it, you have to reinstall it, that's creating friction. For you to do that, so it's gonna make, you're gonna have to go out of your way, or like it says in the book, like if you wanna stop watching TV so often. Well, take the
Okay.
batteries out of your remote and,
Or put the TV in the closet.
yeah, that is harder.
Can you imagine hauling the TV out of the closet every time resetting it up and I mean.
Yeah.
Well, the
But you
hard
know-
part with you, the result is, because all you do is say, hey,
I
Alexa.
think Jackie's all techie, so she knows she just talks to Alexa, so it doesn't matter if you have a remote or not.
Because they even use the example of like, okay, so what they did, one of the examples he uses in the book is unplug it. So unless you can like name what you're gonna watch. You can't watch it, and you can't do mindless watching. Well, half the time for me is like, Alexa, put on this while I'm walking to the kitchen to do something, because I already know what I'm gonna watch, which I gotta break that
There's
habit.
stand-up ones
I have
that
a little
fall into
cube.
you.
No, I just have a cue. So like, as I'm walking to the kitchen, I just shout loud enough and it turns it on while I'm walking away.
Can you program Alexa to turn a TV on
Yes.
at a certain time?
Mhm. I liked what I was reading where it said, turn off your phone at 10, all devices off at 10. I was like,
There's a screen time feature on your phone, so if you are on a certain app, it'll make you like, you can go on there for TikTok or whatever, for like 30 minutes. And then it'll cut off when you have to type in your password to go in there, so if you do open it and you have to type in your
That's
code.
beautiful,
Yeah.
that's beautiful.
It's harder to get.
Do you wanna
into.
say something, Cindy, or are you just elevating different?
Well, this, I was gonna say, because you're talking about punishment on bad habits. The result of a bad habit is punishment enough. This is punishment from a bad habit. It was a
Yeah.
result of one of my bad habits, which is slow down.
Yeah.
And
A
I,
good one too is accountability partner. Someone that holds you accountable for what you're supposed to do and what not supposed to do.
Yeah, yeah. Well, like Cindy says, the result of her having a bad habit resulted in something that you'll probably never forget
ever,
for the rest of your life. It's traumatic. Sometimes it's not that drastic.
So what I'm hearing from you, Cindy, is I need to put some rat traps. In front of the junk food,
there's punishment for doing bad habits.
break my toes.
Just don't buy the junk food. Make it harder for you to binge.
nope,
Who said that?
you know, it's just saying.
Oh, that was me, Raina. Sorry.
Oh, that's Raina. That's Raina. Okay. All right. What else? Jackie, what did you get out of this, out of the third chapter?
The biggest takeaway from the third chapter that I've been applying is a 2-minute rule. Because like, in many cases, I have a bad habit that I love to let things pile up. And then just do it all at once, that way I have that reward feeling of I got it all done. But in reality, if I just make a habit of doing a little bit each time, it never turns into a pile, and I'm more consistent, I feel even better. So I've been trying to apply more of the 2-minute rule, of just doing little things. So my biggest ones I've been trying to do more of is the decluttering, so I've been throwing something away every day, or throwing it into the donation bin.
Good. And don't you think we all have those moments in the day where we can either make a good decision and get done what we need to do, or make a bad decision and go the wrong way? You know, and I guess we've just got to set ourselves up for making that right decision. You know, getting those calls out of the way, going to the gym in the morning, those kind of things, breaking bad habits, I guess, well, go ahead,
Just
Chris.
choosing what's the one.
Wisely. Mhm.
I like how he talks about being proactively lazy. So like Connie with your calendaring, it lets you get time back, right? Because you're not trying to build a day every day, doing a little bit every day. That was probably my favorite part of this section.
Yeah. Yeah. What were you gonna say, Ken?
Oh, I was just gonna say that you're always supposed to do the things you're not the best at and that you don't like first.
Right,
They always say that you take what you like to do the worst, that you have the, every day you move it to the next day. Like calendar too, everything's on the calendar.
Yeah.
And you just move it to the next day. Well, don't allow yourself to move it to the next day.
Right.
Move it up in the day, so you don't go on to the next thing until you've done the thing you don't like to do.
well, Brian always used to say, swallow the frog, right?
Yeah.
Swallow the frog.
Yeah.
If it's that call you've got to make to a client and it's stopping you from making, your care calls to your clients. Because you're just so caught up with it, swallow the frog, get it done and get it out of the way.
It's not gonna go away by
No.
pushing it to the end of the day and then pushing it to the next day, it's the same thing, you're not gonna do it tomorrow.
Well, then the next day, your next day items have become like a whole week of items
Yeah.
shoved into
Yeah.
another day, you're like,
Accumulate.
Right.
and then the frustration kicks in. And then you're like, okay, now, there's that happened.
And then I was talking to my trainer today about, it is proven science that our willpower as humans drastically reduces as we go through, diminishes as we go through the day. So we start out with a lot of willpower, we do, and then by the end of the day, we're like, screw it, I want Oreos, I'm gonna have Oreos, I've waited all day and I'm gonna have it because we're tired, we have less stamina. So it's important, I think, to do those hard tasks, playing off what Pam said, in the morning.
Yep.
Make the hard phone calls, get the hard stuff out of the way. That's why I go to the gym in the morning. I have more energy.
And if you go home at night and you're tired, you may not go.
I won't go. I'll just take, I won't go. I'll sit on the couch and be like, oh, I'm not going now.
Yeah.
Done. So I think it is important to set those habits. I mean, if you're a morning person, I'm not by nature a morning person, but I train myself.
Become
a morning person.
Because that's where you block your things, because you're most productive.
Right,
Mhm.
right.
Yeah.
So I think that's setting ourselves up for success, doing that kind of thing. Anything else, Chris, that you?
I mean, I don't know, I feel like one thing I'm gonna do today is I wanna write out what the perfect day would look like, what I wanna become, what I want my days to look at. And I'm just gonna imagine them and write it all down as this is what I want my days to look like. This would be like a perfect day, doing this, waking up at this time, to move up, and then looking at it and tackling one.
Yeah.
And just
And don't
try to do this reverse psychology or work backwards from this, of what I can do and try to implement some technique to start one thing.
And don't you think making the habit simple and easy is the best way to do it? Don't overcomplicate it. Don't overcomplicate it. Just make it simple and easy because you're more likely to follow through with it. Than if you make it too difficult and it's just too hard and too cumbersome. In this one also I highlighted, business is a never-ending quest to deliver the same result in an easier fashion. So just reinvent the wheel, right? We're not reinventing the wheel, we're just making it easier. We're just making it easier.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be so stressful. You don't have to go through large leaps. Sometimes you do, but just simplify it.
Right.
Be honest and get on to this.
And like Chris said, prime your environment, make it ready, make it accessible, have everything ready. If you have your laptop out, you've got your notepad beside it, you've got my glasses, whatever it is, maybe you do that when you have a first cup of coffee and you put your coffee down and you start right in, right? Make it easy, prime it so you're ready to go with it. And I always had heard that 21 days makes a habit, but he doesn't really say that there's 21 days. I think it's just,
The amount of times you do it.
it's the amount of times. Mhm. And then how about this one? 40 to 50% of our actions on any given day are done out of habit. That's a lot. It's a lot. It is a lot.
I like the examples he uses because it makes it easier to implement, like even in a sense like where he talked about on the. Page 173, where it shows you like the list and grid of, unsubscribe from emails to help you be productive, or the delete the games or the social media apps, like. I frequently have to delete apps.
What about the photographer that they gave the assignment to photography class, right? Half of it was just take as many pictures as you can, and the other one was to take the perfect picture. Who got the better pictures then? The ones that were just set to take pictures. The one where they were striving for perfection, overthought it, and they got nothing done. So that comes back to what we're doing as agents, right? Don't overthink it, don't strive for perfection. Just do what you gotta do, throw it out there and do it. Doing it all is better than not doing because you're trying to be perfect and you do nothing.
Yeah, it's like even the sense of where he uses the clients, if you're talking to, I'm talking to 5 buyers, but none of them are actively able to purchase right now, then they're not buyers, they're just prospects. You call 100 prospects to find one real buyer that's gonna be able to make an offer today and go into contract with you. Right?
Right.
That's why Bold always taught us to do 100 contacts a week. Because the quantity builds to the quality.
Right. The quantity builds to the quality. That's so good.
And experience. building.
Right, and then it becomes habit and you become comfortable,
Well,
right?
that's the big thing, it's comfortability, and we're all just, you get so comfortable, like it's comfortable to lay on the couch and watch TV, but if you do things like even just going to the gym for 5 minutes at a time, you get comfortable with being in the gym, so that eventually it starts staying longer. It's the same thing with making phone calls, and call 5 people, it could be uncomfortable, but eventually it's like, oh, I make 3 calls a day, that's easy, now I'm gonna do 10.
Now I'm gonna do 10. Again, it comes back to small changes, not big, not like, I love them, people like, I'm gonna call 30 people a day. I'm like, yeah.
Unrealistic.
Unrealistic, and then they quit because they can't do it, because the success wasn't there.
And then they have failure in their head.
That's right.
I can't do that, I'm not good at this. If
Exactly,
you only did 3 to 5, you would get comfortable and you would be good at it. And like you said, you could add it some each week.
yeah.
Yeah.
When I do the agent calls and it's 1 a day, it's so easy, and I don't think like, oh, this is just, oh, this is so daunting, I can't do this. It's like, yeah, it's 1 day, I look forward to it, I get to talk to an agent. It's a pleasant part of my day, and off I go. But if I had said to myself, I'm gonna call 10 agents a day, then it would be, then it'd be like, ugh.
It's hard because.
10 agents, I
quality of
can't
the
do it, I'm not gonna do it, I'm not completing the task, I'm not looking forward to it. It's just becomes a big negative to me instead of a positive, so I think. One of the big takeaways from me on this, again, is what it came to when he said atomic habits. I thought that meant big changes, huge changes. It's not, it's little changes. You do get results, but little changes. And it's consistent. He is consistent with that theme through the book. We're not changing big things. We're doing small little tweaks and getting big results.
We're tweaking.
We're tweaking. Yes, we're tweaking and not twerking, but we're
But
tweaking.
then it also makes you realize too, that what you think was like my biggest. My one little habit, what I thought was just a little habit. Has many effects on daily things that I do. So that one little bad habit that I have that I'm learning to work on has an effect on. A whole bunch of other habits that I never even associated to one another.
Yeah,
So it's like that, you think, okay, 1%, it's like. 1% in your mind is not a lot, but the result of the 1% is huge.
it is. Especially if it compounds and you eliminate one bad thing, which eliminates another bad thing, which eliminates another bad thing, it just kind of snowballs into something so positive. Mhm.
I think another thing is, it's progress, not perfection, because making progress, because you can get really wrapped up in this and then just feel like you're so overwhelmed. But like, yeah, it's just that 1% rule, just one, progress, not perfection, because it can be overwhelming for sure.
It is. I also like this where he said the average person spends over 2 hours per day on social media. That is 600 hours per year that you could spend doing something else. It's a lot.
Well, your phone tells you how much screen time. you
Yeah.
use.
A lot.
with that,
Instead, so you can only watch 20 minutes of TikTok a day, and then you have to type in your passcode and so you can
Oh.
open it up.
sorry, waking you up,
Yeah,
our timer went out, that's why.
Well, do you ever take a break, stop what you're doing, and then look at your phone and actually get a reality check when you look on your phone and it tells you your screen time, and you're like,
Oh my god, 7 hours.
you're
a
like,
day.
wow.
I think that is-
Don't realize it until you,
don't.
something has to hold you.
What do you look at for screen time?
In
right.
your settings.
Got it.
What if you,
Just decrease it.
or what if you time blocked for social media time?
Mm-hmm.
You could, in the evening, if you don't have any customers, you don't do any of that work at night, you could in the evening.
If you go onto social media and you deactivate your account, the very first question it asks you why you're deactivating it is, I spend too much time. It's nothing about privacy. It's about what, it's the,
Sorry, about, are you having cyberbullying, like the last one?
they're telling you, you probably spend too much time.
Well, it goes back to all the dopamine, right? What he talked about in the last chapter, that dopamine rush, because you know you're gonna get on social media. Oh, I got 200 likes on that post. It's that dopamine rush. I mean, you know, social media has changed the world
It has.
and how we look at things and I mean, that all went back to what we learned at CAR. We went to a TikTok class, we went to an Instagram class. And they talk about the instant, you know, if things going viral and it's an important part of our business, but unfortunately, it's an important part of our business. I mean, it's unfortunate, but
It's unfortunate.
but I think about how we used to do business, my God, you know, I mean, it's, you know, we have it on our phones now, but geez, there used to be a damn book, the book, the MLS book. And you, when did that come out? Every Friday? Was it every
It
Friday?
came out every Tuesday.
Oh, every Tuesday, the stupid MLS book, and you're going, there was no cell phones, right? People were on landlines. They're not on their phones, they're not doing social media, it was a whole different
That's
ballgame.
military days, that's the real floor time.
Yeah,
People walk in the office and.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so different than
I
what
mean,
we
you basically had to
experienced.
walk between offices, because if you went to one office, they only had the listings they knew about.
Yeah.
The other office, unless they were friends with each other well enough, you wouldn't know.
Yeah, I think we were delivering offers in envelopes.
Uh-huh.
I mean, like, they weren't emailing them, you write them up and run over to somebody's office, but do you think about that? The interaction we have between agents was way different than the interaction we have now. Now it's a lot of text, it's a lot of phone calls, this is face to face, like we talk to
Less
people.
interaction.
Sometimes you don't
People
even see
have
the
bad.
listings that are-
Yeah. Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Normal things that weren't normalized back then are now the new norm and it's.
Yeah.
scary.
It is scary.
Yeah.
So does anybody have anything else that they want to input about this section, about this chapter? Anything they liked, didn't like, or that stood out to them? Quotes that stood out to you guys? Anybody got anything? No?
Nope.
Are we good? Have we beat this horse to death, or is there anything else we want to say about this chapter?
It's gone.
It's gone? Okay, so next week, we are on to the fourth law. And by the way, I am reading the book and listening to the audio
That's what I just.
at the
started.
same time. And I love it because I read it and then I hear it and I swear I am hearing things that I didn't catch the
Same.
first time around.
Yeah, I just started the Audible book yesterday, and so I'm rereading it because I can't just sit without, my kids going
Yeah.
crazy, so I have to
Yeah.
listen and do things.
So next week is the fourth law. Make it satisfying. That one sounds good.
Mhm.
highlight what quotes you guys like, or what sections you guys like too, because I'll ask you next week and then we'll talk about that one.
Did anyone track their bad habits? Cause I know I didn't.
No, I haven't tracked my bad habits. I'm pretty sure I'm perfect. I don't have any bad habits.
Hey, on page 173 for happiness, the first list, get a dog.
Get a dog. See, I did that.
And happiness.
Yeah.
Move to a friendly or social neighborhood.
So are we done next week? Because what's left?
Is that
Oh my
all?
gosh, general health, get vaccinated, dumb.
Is that the last one?
Advanced tactic is after that.
Okay, so we've got 2 more weeks. Okay, all right. Thank you, everybody. Have a great week.